Good morning and welcome to the Chamber's Business Speak. Excuse me. Yep. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm sorry, guys. Good morning. Let me try that again. I'm so sorry for the interference. Welcome to the Chamber's Business Beat Speaker Series. I'm Norm Becker, Board Chair of the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining our virtual event today and the final installment of our Business Beat events this year, allowing for the business community to hear directly from high-level experts and decision makers on timely and relevant topics. Today, we're talking about our flagship university and its bold plans for the future, including University of New Mexico's efforts to develop and deploy cutting-edge research, meet New Mexico's workforce challenges, train the next generation of business leaders, and invest in key academic and infrastructure projects. Before we jump into the presentation, I'd like to recognize some of the great companies and organizations who are sponsoring this speaker series. They are UNM President, CEO, OO, Don Terry, New Mexico Mutual President, CEO, Kelly Mixon, the University of New Mexico and its President Garnett Stokes, including UNM Health Sciences Center, UNM Health, UNM Comprehensive Cancer Center, UNM Athletics, and UNM Rainforest Innovations. Western Sky Community Care Vice President Quinn Lopez, Comcast Vice President Chris Duncanson, Bank of Albuquerque, New Mexico Market CEO Kyle Beasley, U.S. Bank Vice President Liz Earls, Central New Mexico Community College President Tracy Hartzler, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of New Mexico President Janice Torres, Excellent Schools New Mexico Executive Director Scott Heineman, UNIRAC CEO Peter Lorenz, French Funerals and Cremations President and CEO Tom Antrim, Albertsons Regional Vice President Travis Cheney, U.S. Federal Credit Union President and CEO Marcia Majors, Fidelity Investments Vice President of Public Affairs Leanne Kravitz, Nucenda President and CEO Joe Christian, Ultra Health CEO and President Duke Rodriguez, New Mexico Bank and Trust President and CEO Greg Leindecker, and Payday HCM CEO and owner Andy Siegel. Thank you to these great sponsors for their engagement and generosity. We appreciate each one of you. To begin our program today, as we routinely do, we'll recognize just a couple of the new investors who have recently joined our chamber. Our investor companies and organizations are critical to advancing the chamber's mission, and we are thrilled to thank these new members for their contributions to our city. We are recognizing an engineering company and a car dealership today, a pair of leaders in their respective industries that we are happy to have in the Albuquerque area. After we virtually present each of these new investors with their certificate, which Terry Cole is holding up right now, we would love if they would each give us a few quick comments on the work they're doing here in Albuquerque. First, we have Raven Defense. Established in 2018 as a privately held small business, Raven Defense is a technology company based here in Albuquerque dedicated to providing high-quality engineering services and more to meet their customers' demanding requirements in satellite communications and ground stations, deployable sensors, and cutting-edge research, development, test, and evaluation systems. Here to represent Raven Defense this morning is Chris Patschek. Chris?
Thank you so much, Norm and Terry and Chelsea and everyone else for inviting me and inviting Raven to the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce. I appreciate that. As far as Raven Defense goes, as you said, we're a small New Mexico-based company. We're very proud of that heritage. I myself, New Mexico born, educated, and raised. And really, we're here to grow high technology solutions, primarily supporting the Department of Defense, and really appreciate the outreach through the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce as we're trying to find new employees, potentially from our partners there at UNM, well as other great state schools here, so we can grow the business and make more jobs in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And again, thank you for having me.
Chris, here's your certificate. Norm, I was a little slow on that earlier. Welcome.
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate
We'll
it.
get this to you.
Wonderful.
All right, thank you so much, Chris, and we look forward to meeting. Our second new investor today is M&F Auto Sales. M&F Auto Sales has been serving Albuquerque for 25 years and offers comprehensive 120-point inspections on all of its inventory. They have 3 locations, Academy, Coors, and Rio Rancho. 2 of those locations even offer full service maintenance services. Here to represent M&F Auto Sales today is Lydia Fiore. Lydia?
Hi, thank you so much, Norm, for having me today. My name is Lydia Fiore, and I'm the operations manager at M&F Auto Sales. Our dealership is family owned and operated. I work alongside my 2 brothers, Mike and Fatty, every day. This year has been extra special for us. It marks our 25th anniversary serving Albuquerque and the metro area, and we've added a 3rd location in Rio Rancho this year. 2 of our locations include service departments. Our dealership offers high quality used cars with a 1,000-mile 30-day warranty. We have various financing programs, from the first-time buyer to those with credit challenges, as well as those with great credit. We're honored to be a chamber member and investor to support our city through all the work the chamber does, to be more involved in our community, and to meet and network with other businesses. We love cross-promoting and supporting other businesses. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. And we're so excited to have Raven Defense and M&F Auto Sales engaged in the Chamber's work. It's our pleasure to represent you, and we appreciate your investment in the Chamber's mission to make our city and state a great place to start and grow a business and a safe and exciting place to work and raise a family. And now,
Thank you.
Lydia,
I'm sorry.
I see it. I see it. Thank you.
you
so
see the
much, Terry.
certificate? You know,
I see
this works a little better in person, I have to tell you. But anyway, we'll get this to you, Lydia. Welcome so much.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to turn it over to Terry, back over to Terry, who will get us started today's program by introducing our featured guest this morning. Terry.
Thank you so much, Norm. I'm so excited to welcome the president of the University of New Mexico, who was just honored by the Chamber with the Chairman's Award of Excellence, Garnett Stokes. President Stokes will be guiding our program today. She has served as the 23rd president of UNM since May 2018 and is the first woman to hold the post. We hope to be able to take some questions at the end of the program. So if a question comes to mind, please use the Q&A box on the screen to send it in. Though not a native New Mexican, President Stokes traveled through all 33 of New Mexico's diverse counties, over 4,300 miles when she first arrived to New Mexico in an effort to learn about our state and its people, helping frame her priorities as she took the reins of our flagship university. Since her arrival, UNM has received the Carnegie Community Engagement Classification, a designation that indicates institutional commitment to community engagement. A first-generation college graduate, President Stokes earned her BA in psychology from Carson Newman College in Jefferson City, Tennessee, and MS and PhD degrees from the University of Georgia in industrial organizational psychology. On her watch, freshman enrollment is improvement, finances are repaired and in order, student athlete GPA are high, the university's various campuses and programs are more unified, important capital projects like the Children's Psychiatric Hospital and new hospital tower are moving forward. There's a new master plan for Innovate Albuquerque and much, much more. Please join me in welcoming President Garnett Stokes. Take it away, Garnett.
Thank you, Terry, for that very, very kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you and have the opportunity to speak to leaders of Albuquerque and our business community. I'd like to use my time to talk about the University of New Mexico, or we like to say the University for New Mexico. and about the important roles that public tier Research One institutions play in the economy and in the future of our city in the Southwest and beyond. You'll also hear from some of our UNM leaders about how we contribute to the betterment of our citizens and our communities. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about our UNM 2040 plan. And in that context, you know, research universities represent the pinnacle of American higher education. They are not only centers of education, they're also centers of innovation. These institutions couple a commitment to education and scholarship in all academic disciplines with a quest for advances in science and technology that are today really at the heart of American economic growth. While respecting this foundation in the past and our complex present, we must always look to the future. And that's why the UNM 2040 Opportunity Defined has presented us with a chance to think hard and differently about how UNM can be more relevant, more visible, and more competitive as we make our way toward the middle of the 21st century. Watching during the last year as we created more thoughtful and innovative ways to solve problems and adapt to change and advance our mission during this crazy time, it has me both excited and confident about where we're going as an institution. Our process in creating this plan has been deliberate and thoughtful. We had multiple opportunities to engage with focus groups of students, faculty, staff, and supporters to learn what are their aspirations for our institution. And that process was informative, it was invigorating and exciting. Our steering committee reflected on the broadly generated input and provided their thoughts around several emerging high-level themes and opportunities for us over the next 20 years or so. Our task forces took our emerging vision to a new level of detail by suggesting some key activities that need to occur over the next 5 years so that we can actually execute on our most ambitious goals. Our very first goal under our 2040 plan is Advance New Mexico. And as described in our plan, advancing New Mexico requires us to understand the needs and unique opportunities of our distinct New Mexican cultures and peoples, the economic enterprises, and the communities themselves. This understanding allows us to address critical issues facing humanity with what we believe will be innovative solutions. And it also allows us to contribute to the quality of life, growth, prosperity, and advancement of New Mexico and the other societies around the world. The University of New Mexico's unparalleled educational opportunities open doors for more than just a world-class education. As the University for New Mexico, UNM has a mission to serve. And by teaching and advancing the brightest minds, we create opportunities for jobs, discovery, socioeconomic growth, and more. At UNM, we, as Lobos, ask daring questions, we forge new paths, and open doors. In doing so, we open doors for them and for so many others, I think, in our state and region. They look within themselves and to each other for inspiration. As we like to say at UNM, opportunity isn't found, it is created. So on this next slide, you see the objectives under this first big goal for UNM. These objectives are ambitious for certain, but also I think entirely attainable. And while each objective in itself is important, I think these have to be pursued holistically and not really individually. Even as we embrace our leadership role in economic development, for example, we should be doing so in a manner that contributes to the life, cultures, well-being, and vibrancy of our state. So fortunately, we're a great partner for you to have work. We really want to partner with you and work with you. And this morning, I hope to be able to show you why we can be such good partners in the community. So the bottom line, each of the UNM leaders for whom you're going to hear today is a champion of advancing New Mexico, not only by sharing with you their individual expertise of research, innovation, and business and creativity, but also showing how these diverse strengths can work together and how they engage with the community. This is truly how we define opportunity. So I'm truly optimistic about our future as Lobos, I can't wait to work with all of you. And moving forward, I think we're going to do great things together. So I'm honored to introduce to you our first Lobo leader for this morning, Dr. Ellen Fisher, UNM's Vice President for Research. As the state of New Mexico's only Research One institution, and one of only 21 in the nation that are also classified as a Hispanic serving institution, innovation and research are part of our Lobo DNA. When I arrived at UNM in 2018, one of the first things I asked our Lobo researchers to do was identify 3 core areas of research, 3 grand challenges that could help us improve the lives of all New Mexicans. We identified those 3 areas as sustainable water resources, successful aging, and substance use disorders. And now, 4 years later, our progress in these areas has been so encouraging that we're presently getting proposals to help us take on even more challenges vital to the prosperity of New Mexico. So I'm delighted Dr. Fisher can be here this morning to talk about our research, including our grand challenges, and how we're truly advancing New Mexico and the world. Dr. Fisher, I'll turn things over to you.
Thank you, President Stokes. I am very pleased to be here, and I'm happy to talk about some of the great things that are happening in research at UNM. Let's go to the next slide. So the university research, as President Stokes just said, drives economic development no matter where Research One universities are. They really do contribute to the health and welfare of the region in which they exist. And at UNM, we do this by direct expenditures, over $308 million in contract and grant funding in FY 2020. We were down a little bit in 2021, but currently we're projecting 5 to 10% annual increases for the current fiscal year as well as the FY 23. So we're really happy about that. We're heading up in terms of direct expenditures. But I think more importantly, in some respects, is that we bring innovation and entrepreneurship, and not only technological innovations that come from some of those basic areas of research, but and then are used by existing companies, but we also are responsible for creating small businesses that again stay in the area and employ New Mexicans. And I have some numbers for you on the next slide. But again, I think the other thing that universities do that we don't always remember is that we create both new technologies as well as products, and that leads to more sustainable industries, higher level skills and pay for technology workforce, and the ability to attract venture capital to the state. And again, on employment and workforce development at UNM, our research enterprise supports about 4,500 jobs across the UNM campuses. We also are a major supplier of employees to the national labs. The figure I have there for Sandia is we have about 3,500 UNM alums that are currently employed by Sandia, and there's many other local companies and industries that routinely look at UNM for high technology workforce employees. Next slide. So some of those specific numbers regarding commercialization and startup companies, these numbers are from 2020, and the companies that came directly out of UNM employed about 260 New Mexicans, paid over $20.6 million directly in wages and salaries, generated $33.4 million in total output. And I think more importantly, again, we have another statistic here that the stimulated additional benefits of these companies raised out to 457 jobs, another 29.4 million in labor, and 55.4 million in economic output. So that right there, just sort of think about those numbers in terms of where what UNM is contributing to the economy of New Mexico. In terms of intellectual property development over the last 5 years, we've had over 550 invention disclosures that are filed with the university, and we've converted those 404 to patents that have been filed, 291 patents that were issued. We have 253 option license agreements with companies both in the state and external to the state, and also 44 new startup companies that were generated just in the last 5 years. So I really think the numbers just speak for themselves. But with the next slide, I will talk more specifically about some of the areas that we are investing in to go forward. And so if we think about how we impact impact, how UNM research impacts the economy of New Mexico. The first is that we can bring new industry to New Mexico. And I've used as an example here, quantum science, which is the technology of the future. And we have lots of assets here in terms of the Center for High Technology Materials and the Center for Quantum Information and Control. Really exciting. We have just completed a road mapping exercise with Sandia, and we are in the process of putting together a joint institute that will have strategic benefits for partners, including manufacturers and commercialization people, in addition to the government and education, academia partners as well. So look for that to be coming. We'll be developing the QNM Institute fall of 2022. And so that's going to be a new thing to put on your radar. Next slide. I just want to point out that we did hold this QNMI symposium earlier this spring, and that brought several industries in, and we're super excited to be continuing to partner with those in the launch of the New Mexico Quantum Institute. Okay. In the next area, we also are addressing infrastructure needs for New Mexico, and this includes building an information data institute, which is going to focus on education training in cybersecurity and big data. And that includes teacher training and workforce development, so that we're building the workforce of the next generation. And again, I'm not going to talk about all the assets that we have in this area, but we have a huge number of assets that are looking at really interesting application areas, including drug discovery, secure communications, and cybersecurity. But I think the other thing I want to emphasize here is that UNM is leading a collaboration that it goes across our campuses, as well as with other entities, including CNM and the other higher education institutions within the state. The third area that I want to point out is that that's the next slide, is addressing regional issues. We're building an arid climates institute, and again, we have so many assets in this area, and what we'd like to do is sort of build an overarching umbrella that will help us to have better communication internally, but also then be able to work with external entities as well. And the highlights here are that we are leading an NSF Regional Innovation Engines and RIE. This is the NSF new proposal effort that NSF is doing that could bring $160 million to the state of New Mexico. It's very research and technology focused. And again, we're looking to partner with various industries across the state. We're doing that in collaboration with the Northern Rio Grande Corridor Consortium, of which again, UNM is one of the leaders there. And that includes the national labs, as well as the other research institutions and Navajo Tech and CNM, et cetera. So we are really excited about this as it directly impacts the state of New Mexico. Next slide. Yeah, so the current grand challenges teams, as President Stokes noted, these are the three that we currently have on substance use disorders, successful aging, and sustainable water resources. And this is really about thoughtful engagement with the New Mexico communities and how we can advance and improve New Mexico. And if we just, if you look at the next slide, I will point out that we have asked for and have just now funded new UNM Grand Challenges concept teams. And these teams are going to be getting together over the next year to really look at how we can coalesce and build efforts in various areas. And the ones that were selected range from STEM education, data science, education, and literacy. You can see things around child health, but also basic needs, and including food insecurity and housing insecurity, mental health issues, basic literacy, space science, indigenous child development, all issues that are affecting New Mexicans today, but also are of global importance as well. So with that, I will just close and say, if we go to the last slide, that UNM research contributes directly to New Mexico's economy with dollars that just get infused directly into the economy, but we also attract, develop, and connect talented people. We can build innovative solutions to improve the lives of New Mexicans, and we also provide regional, national, and global impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fisher. It's always exciting to hear the great strides being made by our researchers at UNM across a lot of different disciplines, and what that means, the connection to our citizens and our state. Up next, I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Mitzi Montoya, Dean of UNM's Anderson School of Management, where we make the business of New Mexico our business. With award-winning programs and as the home of some of our most popular majors on campus, the Anderson School of Management takes pride in constantly adapting and upgrading our course offerings to ensure that we provide Lobos with the skills they need to compete in New Mexico's unique economy, whether it's cybersecurity or digital filmmaking. In short, we're providing our students with the skills they need to thrive and innovate, not just in today's economy, but tomorrow's as well. So, Dr. Montoya, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Stokes. It's great to be here. I wanted to give you all just a brief overview of what we're doing in Anderson, so you have a sense of how we may engage with you in the community. And we would love to hear from you in terms of how we can help support your business growth and expansion. Our mission is to be partners in your progress and in our students' progress, our faculty and staff's progress. One thing that's very unique about Anderson is our commitment to regional development. We are embedded in this community, and we believe we share responsibility for development of the region. And we're very interested in collaborating with external partners, both because of our commitment to the region, but because you significantly contribute to the education of our students. Our students learn best when they're applying and they're doing, and they care deeply about New Mexico, as do we. So we thank you for your partnership, for those of you that are already partnered with us, and please reach out for those that are interested in engaging as I share a little bit more about what we do today. Next slide. So this is just to give you a sense of what we do in Anderson. This is, some of this is new and has changed. It's all the normal things that you see that we do as our undergraduate degrees. And there's an example there that President Stokes mentioned that is a new approach we're taking. And that's the one that says BBA with a concentration in film and digital arts. One of the things that we're working on is partnering with our great schools and colleges across campus and really blending business in a variety of different application areas. Another one you'll see on here is under the master's, the graduate level, you'll see healthcare is mentioned there, as well as film and digital media, again, and science and tech leadership. So we're working to develop future leaders in the sectors that we have today in New Mexico, and that the state and regional economic developers have indicated are the clusters and sectors of the future. So we are working to skate where the puck is going and develop those future leaders and that future talent that you all need to hire. We have a couple of new master's degrees that were developed in direct partnership with and to address regional needs. So that's the Master of Science in Cybersecurity and Business Analytics and the Master of Science in Project Management. And that's an example of how we collaborate with major employers in the region. Both of those were partnerships with the labs and their need for more talent in specific areas that we were able to partner and help produce that. So we look forward to hearing from you in particular needs you have. Our goal is to remain evergreen, relevant, and responsive to business needs. So we invite you to share your conversations, concerns, ideas with us, and we will work to make sure we're responding to that. Next slide. One of the things that I absolutely love about New Mexico, I'm new here. My grandparents are from here, but I came here 2 years ago in the middle of COVID. And this is the story I tell everywhere around the country, that one of the many great strengths of New Mexico, in addition to the amazing research that Dr. Fisher described and all that Dr. Stokes described, our identity is also one of our great strengths. We have a phenomenally diverse student body, as you well know, and this is incredibly appealing and attractive to business, clearly here, but also beyond. And this is important because it means this is a way we can attract more business to New Mexico, because there is great interest in the talent pool that we create and the pipeline that we're building, and the fact that we look like the rest of the country is going to look in another 20, 30 years. So this is a great strength for us, and we're very proud of this. Next slide. This is a way you can engage with us. One thing that we've launched over the last couple of years is every single program in Anderson has an advisory board of community members, in some cases alumni, but there's no requirement to be an alum. This is important for the community, and particularly the business community, so that you have both access to have input into what we're doing and make sure we stay current and relevant, but also to build relationships with faculty, with students, to meet your hiring needs. We have boards across every program. I have contact information at the end. If you're interested in partnering with us, please reach out and we'll get you connected to the right people. Next slide. Thought I would share a bit of the kind of the services and programs and things that we're doing that are specifically relevant to a corporate community engagement lens. So one, we have a business clinic where students and faculty can work on projects to support your organization or address problems or questions that are short-term that really provide business value for you, but great educational learning experience for our students. So I hope you'll consider engaging with us on that front. Our students love to work on real problems and real projects and get great experience doing it. We have a wide range and expanding catalog of executive and professional education. This is more skills-based training. So this is non-degree, but very focused. Might be on emerging trends, technologies, topics, or it might just be some foundational fundamentals of accounting that we all know and love we have to have. So feel free to check us out on what we have available for you. And we also are very happy to develop new programs that might be supportive of your business growth and upskilling or retaining your workforce. Let us know how we can help in that domain as well. Next slide. We have a variety, this is just to give a couple of examples, but most all of our executive professional education programs are micro-credentials that come with badges that are trackable and go with your employees. Some of you may find this to be a useful approach for partnering with us on JTEP funds. If you have pursued those from the state, we can be a partner in your current workforce educational needs outside of degree programs as well. Next slide. We are very actively engaged with our regional and statewide economic developers to help really foster and grow the regional ecosystem, promote job growth, create opportunities that may connect dots where we can serve a unique role. One way in particular that we are actively engaged with State Economic Development Office, the New Mexico Chamber of Commerce, and area, so the Albuquerque Regional Economic Alliance, is we have stood up something called the Center for the Future of the New Mexico Economy. And the intent is to provide data analytic support and services to create awareness of where we are performing on various economic development factors, which supports transparency, accountability, and helps us make progress. So we're very excited about that project just coming out of the ground now. Certainly, we have students available for anyone who needs to hire. The contact information that will be at the end. I would encourage you to reach out if you have placement opportunities for our students, whether that's internship or full-time. We can make sure we connect you to our Career Services Center. One of the things our students love to do is to participate in a variety of different competitions. Again, fantastic learning for them, and we are often looking for very interesting opportunities and problems for them to solve. So some of these projects are sourced from the community, and things like Tech Navigator, that's an example of students working on technologies from the labs and developing commercialization plans. The pitch competitions with Rainforest are student entrepreneurs and getting feedback and hopefully taking their ideas to the next step to create more jobs and more businesses in the community. And the Business Scaling Challenge is focused on existing New Mexico businesses that are interested in scaling their business and going global. And our students work on plans and support as interns those companies as they move through those processes. So please watch for those things, participate if any of those are of value to your companies. Next slide. These are the contact information in addition to me, easy to find, but these are a couple of people, name, numbers that are engaged in and lead our corporate community engagement effort in Anderson. I encourage you to please reach out, let us know what we can do for you. If we don't have it in place, we certainly will work to make sure that we can respond and get you pointed in the right direction. And so with that, I will turn it, I believe that's my last slide. I'll turn it back over to President Stokes.
Thank you, Dean Montoya. I do so much appreciate all that the Anderson School does, not only for our students, but for our businesses, large and small across the state. It's a great resource, and I think for others. So thank you so much for sharing that. You, all of you who are here today may be aware of the upcoming general obligation bond that provides much needed resources that will would be invested in two really critical areas, two new campus facilities, the Children's Psychiatric Center and the College of Fine Arts Center for Collaborative Arts and Technology. I'm going to ask our next speaker to speak about the second of these, as I think we often don't truly appreciate the contribution of the arts and culture on our state's economy and on the lives of our citizens here. One of the things that is important to understand is that one of UNM's and New Mexico's most valuable exports is, in fact, imagination. I'm very pleased to introduce you to the Dean of UNM's College of Fine Arts, Harris Smith, who is here to talk about not only that critical intersection of the arts and business, but also how art and culture bring their own kind of value to our economy. Dean Smith, I am delighted to turn things over to you.
Okay, thank you, President Stokes, and thanks to Terry and Norm and the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce. I wanted to start with a quote that one of our community partners shared with me, and it says, "Doctors save lives, but artists give people a reason to live." And not only do artists impact the quality of someone's life and emotional and spiritual well-being, but the arts also play a significant role in the economy. Can you go to the next slide, please? So I thought I'd start out with a 30-foot view and then break it down to ground level, how the arts at UNM impact the greater impact for the country. But starting with the national statistics. So even though the pandemic resulted in substantial losses to the arts and culture sectors across the nation, the National Endowment for the Arts recently reported the impact that the arts have economically. They found that when looking across nonprofit, commercial, and education organizations, the arts and culture sector amounts to $876.7 billion industry. Now, this value is ranked third behind healthcare and social assistance and retail trade at 4.2% of the nation's gross domestic product. Now, in addition, our nation's trade surplus in the arts has grown tenfold over the last 15 years. And with the creative industry exporting $33 billion more than it exports, or imports, excuse me. And finally, the nationally assembled state arts agency recognizes that when the arts labor market grows, so does the state economy. Next slide, please. Now, according to the economic impact study by the leading nonprofit organization for the advancing of the arts and arts education, Americans for Arts, the nonprofit arts and culture industry generated $166.3 billion of the economic activity during 2015. Now, this activity supported 4.6 million jobs and generated $27.5 billion in revenue to local, state, and federal governments. And they also found that the arts drive tourism and revenue to local businesses, which is very significant for the state of New Mexico. Now, with each arts attendant spending about $31 per event, which is compounded by the fact that most of these folks that want to experience art tend to stay for a longer period of time to have an authentic and cultural experience. Next slide, please. So how does this impact and what does it look like on a state level? Well, from sonic art and sensory media to art and data, storytelling and virtual production, arts and culture industries add nearly $3 billion to the New Mexico economy. And as recognized in a recent UNM Bureau of Business and Economic Research report, the BEBR report, these industries employ 1 in 10 jobs in the state. And of note, 9.8% of the state's population are in the creative economy jobs, which amounts to more than $1.5 billion in total compensation. For the last 4 years, Movie Maker magazine has recognized Albuquerque as one of the best places to live and work as a movie maker. And for good reason. Most of you probably heard that Netflix has committed over $2 billion to our economy. And we've not only been in contact with Netflix, but also other production companies like NBC Universal, who have below the line talent needs, which we're ready to provide. You are also probably aware of the Next Generation Media Academy, which was started by the governor and Secretary Alicia Keys, where we have 16 of our higher education programs, a consortium that is focused and dedicated on keeping our students in state and making training for the film industry available for anyone within the state. Next slide, please. We also found something interesting as we started reaching out and working on our master plan, about the different partnerships that our College of Fine Arts has. So if you look at this small rectangle here, this represents the College of Fine Arts with our art department, music, theater and dance, film and digital arts, our interdisciplinary program, and our arts and leadership and business program, as well as the UNM Arts Museum and the Tamarind Institute. So these are all our relationships within the college. If you look at the second rectangle, this represents our relationships that we have within the University of New Mexico. And Mitzi and Ellen have actually pointed out some of the relationships we've had and that we've created with the different programs outside of the university. And then outside of this rectangle are our partnerships beyond, outside of the university and beyond, nationally and internationally. And I have a few examples listed. Blizzard Entertainment, for example, they're located in Los Angeles, California. John Haidt is one of our alums, and he's the executive producer of the World of Warcraft. If you have kids, they've probably played this game. And he's been providing real world advice to our film and digital arts students who are interested in game design and development. Also, I'm sure you've all heard of Meow Wolf. We have a robust internship program for students studying experimental art and technology, film and digital arts, and arts leadership and business. And then we have the National Institute of Flamenco. During the week of June, 1 week in June, the Festival Flamenco Albuquerque, which is actually the largest event outside of Spain, contributes about $2 million to the Albuquerque economy within that 1 week. And then we have our relationship with Sandia Labs. Our film and digital arts students learn about through gaming with our faculty who work with SNL engineers to develop interactive tools for training our future nuclear security experts. And of course, we have the Santa Fe Opera, where our theater and music majors participate in summer apprentice programs. Now, during my time at UNN, I've made it a priority to engage with the colleagues across the program and campuses and beyond, as you can see in our partnership match. And what's more, our facilities serve as a welcoming public spaces with over 300 public performances, exhibitions, installations, and art discussions annually. Next slide. So now more than ever, the fine arts programs are necessary, and our 1,300 students and our 125 faculty are ready to serve. We have our top-ranked photography program to our student-produced shows that they're trying to sell to Netflix and other platforms. Our academic programs are the cornerstone for UNM's liberal arts education, allowing us to serve as a creative outlet for all of our UNM students. Now, I believe that film is the ultimate interdisciplinary art form. And with that, we see promise in our film and digital arts program and our interdisciplinary arts program, which have experienced exponential growth over the past few years. We also have other programs that have been contributing. The music program, for example, is exposing children of all ages to the arts and through our renowned music prep program, to the healing through creative arts and movements at UNM Hospital. Our UNM Fine Arts is accessible to all our community members, and we continue to strive to increase and improve that relationship. We're also a destination college for our one-of-a-kind flamenco concentration. Currently, we're the only university in the country that offers a concentration in flamenco. So with that, just a few closing remarks. We're hoping, as President Stokes pointed out, with the completion of our new fine arts building, we'll have the ability to be more impactful and engaging our community and supporting the economy. And as you see, the arts are not just good for the soul and human spirit, but it has a major and significant impact on the well-being of our state. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dean Smith. And you know, if we were in person, I think Dean Smith might have done a part of this presentation that I've seen him do before, which is actually perform something from Shakespeare. So you have missed something. I just want to be sure the audience is aware of that. But I really want to say to all of you who are participating today, We are privileged to be your university and to be part of this community. We know that there are many challenges that lie ahead as we work toward improving the economy and the lives of all New Mexicans. We're grateful to be at your side and to have your back every step of the way. And with that, I would turn this back over to Norm, who will facilitate the Q&A portion of our program. Thank you, Norm.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Garnett, and thanks to our presenters. That was fantastic. We do have a few minutes left for questions, and Terry's going to help me facilitate these. Before I ask her to do that, though, as you know, Garnett, our businesses are passionate about keeping our grads and our great students in our state. Can you talk about, and Harris mentioned something about internship, but can you talk about the internship program that are available for the students to patch into business and how businesses can connect with those internship programs?
So I think that a couple of internship programs have been mentioned by two of the deans. Most of our internship work right now takes place at the college level. One of our 5 goals for our 2040 planning is, in fact, to build internship opportunities for all, the possibility of those for all students. So I would say that someone who's looking to get connected with UNM for internship possibilities can directly contact the president's office, and then we can direct people to the various colleges, unless you know that you're looking for something in Anderson or looking for something within our School of Arts. We can direct you to the right dean, and so happy to do that. And I think we're going to see that much more systematically done at UNM over the next couple of years. It's a high priority for us and a challenge to really coordinate it all, but that's something that we think is really crucial for our students and for the workforce here.
Great. Thank you, Garnett. For the audience, you have a Q&A box on your screen if you'd like to submit questions. And with that, Terry, do you have questions to present?
Sure, thanks, Norm. So I'd like to talk for a moment about the work Ellen Fisher is doing with the partnership and collaboration with Sandia National Laboratories. And this is for both Garnett and Ellen to respond to. But anytime we talk about economic development opportunities in New Mexico, we often hear how important it is for us to establish collaboration and relationships with Sandia National Labs, that it is a unique and important institution and can help us with respect to job development. So congratulations, Ellen and Garnett, on your work with Sandia Labs to develop this collaboration and partnership. What has that road looked like? What are the challenges that it looks like you've overcome and that you're continuing to try to overcome to create this partnership between our flagship university and our very unique and important laboratories? Talk about that for a minute with respect to job development and opportunities for the future.
So I will, let Ellen speak first, and then am I remembering, Mitzi, that you have been doing some things with Sandia as well? So we'll let Ellen, and then if you have something to add in, and then I'll add some more.
Great.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that it's both Sandia and Los Alamos National Labs are really important partners for us. And I think one of the biggest things that those laboratories are looking for is workforce development. And at both institutions, they need not only the STEM discipline types of workers, but they also need business people, and they need people who can do all kinds of things. So they're really looking to hire. And one of the statistics that I learned earlier this year was that Los Alamos was looking, they normally hire about 1,000 people a year. And for a variety of reasons, they were looking to try to hire 2,000 people this year across all of their enterprises. With Sandia Similarly, we have really good relationships with them, and we've continued to have those. In terms of the hurdles that we tend to face on a regular basis in the research world, a lot of it comes down to intellectual property and how we're going to share those things, and we're doing a much better job of articulating those agreements ahead of time so that it doesn't get to be a problem when something does get developed. So that's one area that we have some challenges in, and the other is really about access and being able to have people cross back and forth. And so we're right now working on a faculty loan program where staff scientists at Sandia will be able to have affiliation with UNM, which allows them to then be partners on, say, NSF proposals and things like that. And also our UNM faculty will be able to have access to the labs and be able to use some of the resources that they have as well. We have those in place in a limited basis right now, but we're working with the provost office to expand that to just create closer connections and greater partnerships across that. So.
Ellen. Mitzi?
The only thing I would add to what Ellen said beyond the research and workforce, the students we produce, the third area that we see support across the institution is in their economic impact, which is a federal mandate for all of the labs. And so we help with that through our, certainly through Rainforest Innovations, but then through competitions like that example I gave with Tech Navigator, where we work to develop commercialization plans for technology that can be released from the lab. So that would be the only other piece I would add to that.
Thank you, both of you. And the only thing I'd really add is that, you know, we are identifying barriers to partnership and trying to take those down on both sides. I mean, you know, universities and labs are really operating quite differently. And so we do find that you just have to put in the effort to create the opportunities to effectively partner. I'll go back and just mention again something that Ellen Fisher brought up, which is the Northern Rio Grande collaboration and consortium, which includes the labs and includes universities within the state. And in this way, we're really not only trying to increase our own partnerships with the labs, we're really trying to help all of New Mexico work together more effectively so that we have a greater impact. And I think what's important is that we have at the table the principles of the leaders of the labs, as well as the leadership of higher ed institutions. So I think in the future, we're going to see a lot more come from this kind of collaboration.
Thank you, Garnett, and congratulations to all three of you for the work you're doing in that regard. It's important work, and it will reap benefits for us, I think, in job creation for the state. You know, let me hop to a question to Mitzi, and Garnett, you might want to join, but it's very difficult for us to talk about the environment business is operating in today without talking about the struggle and the challenge to find talent, to fill the positions that all these businesses in New Mexico have. It's quite challenging. This whole workforce and talent development area is critical. So I'm interested, Mitzi, what kind of strategies are you having to put in place now? Because the problem, I don't want to overstate it, but the problem is at a crisis level. What kinds of thinking are you putting into that today that might be different than years ago when it wasn't so critical?
Thank you. It's a great question. And I know there are people on this call that I have been working with lately that are at the area, and we've had a lot of great conversations about how we might address this problem. I'll just say generally, one of the things that universities have an important role to play here, we are a net talent attractor to states. And so that means the better, higher quality, exciting, unique, differentiated programs that are offered at a fantastic value, I might add, that attracts people from out of state. And so that's something institution-wide, and the president can speak more to that for us. I can speak to Anderson. That means when we design programs like the ones that I mentioned when I gave my presentation that are differentiated, unique, kind of niche, also partnered with, you know, major employers, that attracts people here. So we are, in addition to educating New Mexicans, which is our primary responsibility, this is a role that universities can play for the state and the region, is build programs that bring people here who then stay because there are jobs here. And so that's a really positive attribute. that we see. And then there are some other interesting policy things that we see other states doing that I've seen in discussion here. And that is a way to recruit people into workforce that might include some creative incentives. So some states are, there are incentives related to relocation. I've seen incentives related to forgiving student debt, and corporate and employer incentives related to promises of continued education at the graduate level. So those are some really creative things that employers can do, states can do. And then we, the universities, play a role in this, just being magnet talent attractors, producers that we are.
Thank you, Mitzi. That's excellent. And, I do think that, Mitzi has captured this well, because you can take what she said about Anderson and apply it to the whole institution. The reality is that the stronger the University of New Mexico is as a national player, the stronger we are in bringing that talent here and then fostering the kind of environments that keep people in New Mexico. So, that's a major part of what our 2040 plan is intended to do. It is to really elevate the work of this institution in ways that are magnets for talent. And I do want to go back to the previous question, because I realized that Harris had this wonderful collaboration with Sandia that I did not bring up related to our relationships with the labs. And so Harris, I'd like to, if you want to say something about that collaboration, I'd like to give you the chance to do so.
Oh, thank you, President Stokes. No, we just look at it as another opportunity for our students to have hands-on learning, to be involved, and having faculty from Sandia Labs working with our students. It's just makes a significant impact and helps them as far as they're looking at their future and moving forward. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Garnett, and thanks for also helping me remember the presentations and the work that everyone is doing with the laboratories. We have time for one final question, and Garnett, it's for you. One of the areas that I think you were so aggressive about from day one and have accomplished a lot of success around is trying to bring the university campus and its programs into a more unified place. And I mentioned that in your introduction, but I wonder if you would elaborate on that. What was the challenge you saw? And are there other ways in which you're going to bring that even more to scale?
So the fifth goal, and doesn't mean it's the least important. The fifth goal for 2040 is actually one university. And that is something that I have believed in walking in the door, that institutions needed to break down their own internal barriers to collaboration. People worry about our ability to collaborate externally. We will do that more effectively if we can also figure out how to do that internally. The best education, the best scholarship, the best help and service to the community takes place when we are in fact all working together. So, there are a lot of internal barriers to our ways to work together. Sometimes it's our systems, sometimes it's personalities. Sometimes it, though, is just communication. We're a big institution, and we don't always know what each other is doing. So we have been able to promote this. We brought in our branch campuses more effectively, working with us and working with those communities. We have more work to do. Some of it will be heavy lifts because we are talking about the integration of systems in some cases that will promote our capacity to actually work more effectively together. But we've made some significant progress. And what I love is that there were so many people who actually supported one university as one of the goals that we should really pursue. It's a challenge for universities across the country, but I think especially when you've got branch campuses and a big health system, there are so many opportunities that are missed if you don't tackle those challenges to bring people more effectively together.
Thank you, Garnett. Thank you so much. And I would just do a tip of the hat to Harris, because I think the work that you're doing in the arts area for New Mexico is also an important economic development strategy. Across the country, we look at strategies to create jobs in our states. And you always have to look at what's unique about a place and then bring it to scale. And clearly arts falls into that category. So congratulations and good for you. So now let me turn it back to Norm for closing comments, and it's a wrap for today. Norm?
All right, thank you, Terry, and sincere thank you to President Stokes, Ellen, Mitzi, and Harris for being here today to share some of the latest information about what's happening at the University of New Mexico. Great presentations by you all. And we sincerely, as a business community, appreciate relationship with UNM and UNM leadership. So thank you for that. As we wrap up today's program, I'd like to reinforce how refreshing it is to hear from university leaders, appreciate, vocalize, and prioritize in our economy. Higher education is an essential component of workforce development and its business leaders. And as business leaders, excuse me, we know how important talented and prepared workforce is to meeting the goals of companies and serving the public well. Our economic future is truly tied to the ability of the great institutions like University of New Mexico and CNM to place students on career paths and in growth industries in Albuquerque and across our state. On behalf of the Chamber, we would once again like to thank those great sponsors of our Business Beat series this year: PNM, UNM, New Mexico Mutual, French Funerals and Cremations, UNIRAC, Western Sky Community Care, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, New Mexico, Comcast, Albertsons, Excellent Schools, New Mexico, Bank of Albuquerque, Fidelity Investments, U.S. Eagle Federal Credit Union, Lucenda Credit Union, New Mexico Bank and Trust, Payday HCM, U.S. Bank, CNM, and Ultra Health. Please join us for our next Chamber event. Our last event of the summer will take place tomorrow, and it will be at the same time as today at 10 o'clock via Zoom. We'll be welcoming our 3 New Mexico Congresswomen, Melanie Stansberry, Yvette Harrell, and Teresa Legger Fernandez, for a great conversation on important topics. We'll cover everything from inflation and wildfires to public safety and energy production. You can use the link that's on your screen to RSVP today if you haven't already. With that, we'll conclude our event for today. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you soon.